I mean, I know you're focused on one game, but you've got a stretch coming up that is quite the gauntlet for you guys. But just getting off to a good start in the Big Ten, what would that mean for
Oh,
your club to kind of propel yourself into what's coming
it'd
up
be
the next few
huge.
weeks?
It'd be huge. Like, you have to have a start. And obviously, this is our start to the season, and being able to get that win and try to build off of that and get to your next game. And obviously, we don't play a Big Ten game the next, but obviously, it's a ACC team, and that's where our two losses, have come from. So we know what's in front of us, but we also got to keep things in order and have a good practice today.
Hey, Brian. Ready for Coach Painter?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, hey Matt, how are you?
Good.
Jaden Ivey, any chance he plays tomorrow night?
I hope so. He practiced for about 45 minutes yesterday and looked all right. So we'll see how things go today.
So he'll practice today.
Yes.
Will he go more than 45 minutes today?
Yeah, he's going to go an hour. He's going to get crazy.
15 more minutes.
15 more, man. So, yeah, he's supposed to go for an hour today, in all seriousness.
Can you just tell us about Ohio State, the challenges
Yeah.
they present? Especially for your guards. It seemed like last year they disrupted your guards quite a bit.
Right. Yeah, I thought, they were really aggressive on the ball and did a good job of disrupting, like you said. Like they very active with their hands, good in ball screen defense, just good on the ball in general. And, we had a tough time with that. So that's going to be a big part of the game is just how we are able to handle their pressure.
How has Zach handled not only playing at the Big Ten level to this point without a lot of experience prior to college, but also being in a role where you're getting him the ball? That's the sort of responsibility that
Right.
comes with that.
Well, just trying to be detail oriented in what he does in terms of the sets that we run, where he's getting the ball from, getting good position, just trying to post up and not foul, understand where people are going to be when he posts up, how they're going to defend him, whether they're going to scrape ball side, they're going to double or leave him one-on-one, and just, be able to handle the guy defending him and handle the other guys. And then when he gets deep and he's one-on-one, just, be aggressive and go to one of his post moves. And a lot of times that's a dunk or, a layup. But when you get that kind of position, but he's done a good job. Obviously, his issues are, being able to play without fouling, being able to play without turning the ball over. I think once he can curtail that, he's going to be a big weapon in our league. But he's got to get to that point. We got to keep working with him and helping him.
What does Ethan have to do to, cut back on the turnovers a little bit in the minutes he's getting?
Right. Just, keep things simple. Very cerebral. Sometimes when you deal with people that have a high basketball IQ like that, the overthinking gets them in trouble as much as the thinking. And, he had a couple plays there in our last game, and, you just asked him, like, well, what would you have done in high school? I just would have grabbed the ball and took it and been aggressive, went and scored. And if they took that away, I passed it. That's, sometimes it gets, nobody's out there, even though the competition's better, like nobody's running around out there with capes on. It's not Superman's not out there. It's not that big a deal. Just it's basketball, play basketball. And, into his defense, like he's been through something that, a lot of people don't have to go through with having mono. Like you have lingering effects. It's not a busted up shoulder or a sprained ankle. It's something that affects you, and it affects he has a learning curve right now where he's trying to figure things out in terms of our system. And guys that are that cerebral, they just want to know. Like they want to get everything figured out, and it bugs them when they don't. And then when it goes game speed, it's not as easy as watching film. Film can help you, but you can also push pause and back it up and watch it 3 or 4 times and go like, what was I thinking? Well, it's game speed. It's not the way the game's played. The game's played, without a remote. And, you have to be able to do things, during live action, both offensively and defensively. But I think for what he's been through, that messes with it. The mono has messed with that, and it's been harder for him. And it's hard for as a true freshman in general, for anybody playing for the first time, without mono. So my advice is just relax and play, and just keep working at it. Whenever you walk in the office or whatever the next day, good or bad, he's always in there with his notebook and he's trying to get better. Those guys always end up being good players at Purdue. They probably end up being good players anywhere, to be frank with you. Well, I think a couple things. I think defensively, they're very active on the ball. They do a lot of things that's, detail-oriented that ends up being big things. Those little things of making it harder on you when you have the ball or you're trying to get into your action, add up to pushing you out a little bit or getting a deflection or just throwing your rhythm or your timing off. So they've always been, and he's always been in all three of his stops, a good defensive coach. And then offensively, I've always thought anytime you're that good on defense and you can set the pace of the game, I know they're pushing it a little bit more, with this group, but I also think in non-conference we all push it a little bit more. But once it gets into conference play and you get into January and February and March, you got to be able to play a couple different ways. And I think that's something that, if you can push the ball and get some transition baskets, which they've shown they can do here early in the year, but also be known for your efficiency in the half court offensively, that's a good balance to have. Because when you get into the NCAA tournament, you have to be able to defend in the half court. You got to be able to play in the half court. But at some point when you play really good teams, you got to be able to steal points somewhere. And so that's a concern for us because we got to be able to keep them off the glass and keep them out of transition and force them to play in the half court as much as possible. And really that's just kind of a recipe for what everybody tries to do when they face quality teams. Because if you're just constantly facing off against somebody and you got to run half court offense and you can't steal any points, unless you're really good, it's pretty difficult to win.